All right, let's dive into a world of self-discovery. Today, we're taking a deep dive into The Untethered Soul by Michael A. Singer.
Oh, this one is a classic.
Right. And it's not your typical self-help book. I mean, it's been praised by big names like Deepak Chopra, who even called it a roadmap to the deepest reaches of your being.
Yeah, high praise for sure.
So we know it's going to be good. And, we're using the easy read edition today. But don't worry, it still goes deep, really deep.
Yeah, I can vouch for that.
Okay, so think about this for a second. Have you ever felt like there's just this constant chatter going on inside your head?
Oh, all the time.
It's like you've got a roommate up there who just won't be quiet.
That's exactly what Singer wants us to become aware of, the voice inside our heads and how it shapes our entire experience.
So it's not just random noise. This voice actually influences how we see the world.
Absolutely.
Wow.
Singer, who's explored everything from computer science to Eastern mysticism, by the way.
Okay, so he's a fascinating guy.
Yeah, he's the real deal. Anyway, he argues that this voice is constantly narrating our lives, even when it's totally unnecessary.
Like when?
Well, he gives this great example. Imagine you're looking at a beautiful tree.
Just like taking it all in.
Right. Instead of just taking in the beauty, the voice chimes in with, "Oh, look, a tree, how nice,"
Oh.
adding commentary when all we need is the experience itself.
It's like our own personal play-by-play announcer, but for life. And not always a good one.
Exactly.
But how does this actually affect us? Like, how does this voice impact our lives?
Well, that's where things get really interesting. Singer argues that this constant narration creates a mental model of reality,
Interesting.
almost like a buffer between us and actually experiencing life directly.
I see.
So we end up living in our heads instead of being present in the world.
Oh, okay.
Makes sense, right?
Yeah, totally. But the book goes even further than that, right? It claims that a lot of what this voice says is actually meaningless.
That's a big one. And that's where Singer's concept of the witness comes in.
Okay, tell me about that.
So he's not saying to silence the voice completely, but to become aware of it, to observe it without getting swept away by its every whim.
So instead of getting lost in the drama of our thoughts, we become like the audience.
Exactly.
I like that.
It's like being able to watch your own mental play without necessarily believing everything the actors are saying.
Uh-huh. Right?
And this ability to observe is what Singer calls developing a spiritually minded perspective.
Okay, interesting.
So instead of constantly seeking solutions outside ourselves, trying to change our jobs, our relationships, our circumstances,
We look inward.
we look inward, realizing that true freedom comes from within.
I love that. This reminds me of another great analogy in the book. He compares the inner voice to having a real-life roommate.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Can you imagine constantly having someone commenting on everything you do? Judging your choices? Like, why are you eating that?
Oh, I'd go crazy.
Oh, thanks.
Right.
It highlights how this inner chatter can be a source of so much unnecessary suffering.
Yeah, totally.
And the worst part is we often don't even realize we're being influenced by it, right?
Exactly.
We just go along with the commentary as if it's the absolute truth.
We're so used to it.
Yeah, so how do we break free from this? Because honestly, my roommate is starting to sound pretty annoying.
It's not about evicting the roommate entirely, It's more about learning to manage their contributions, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
a little bit better. And that brings us to another key concept in the book, understanding the energy behind our thoughts and emotions.
Oh, yeah. This is where it gets really powerful. It's not just about the thoughts themselves, but the energy they carry with them. I remember this amazing analogy. He compares our inner energy to a wild horse.
Yeah, it's the perfect image. Imagine you're trying to ride this untamed horse, like you're at its mercy, it throws you around, exhausts you, and you end up just bruised and battered.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Singer argues that this is how so many of us live our lives, at the mercy of our untamed emotional
Oh,
energy.
true. It's so true.
We react to every little thing, get caught up in the drama, and then wonder why we feel so drained and depleted.
Okay, so how do we tame this wild horse? I mean, does that mean we just ignore our feelings? Bottle them up? That doesn't seem healthy either.
Right. It's not about ignoring or suppressing our emotions. It's more about understanding them, seeing them for what they truly are.
Okay.
Singer points out that much of this energy is actually coming from old, unresolved stuff.
Like what?
Past hurts, fears, anxieties. We carry them around like baggage, right? And they end up coloring our perceptions of the present.
So it's like we're letting the ghosts of our past run the show. That explains why I react in ways sometimes that just don't make sense.
Exactly. And that's why the concept of letting go is so crucial in this book. He's not just talking about forgetting things. He's talking about releasing the energetic charge that they hold.
Okay.
Stop clinging to the past and free ourselves from these burdens.
That makes so much sense. But letting go of things that have hurt us, that have shaped us, that can't be easy.
Oh, it's definitely a practice, not a one-time fix.
Yeah.
But the book offers some incredible tools to help us cultivate that detachment.
Like what?
Well, one technique that really resonated with me is simply observing our thoughts and feelings without judgment,
Okay.
allowing them to arise, acknowledging them, and then letting them pass like clouds in the sky.
So it's about creating space for those emotions to exist without letting them take over.
Precisely.
Okay.
Instead of getting tangled up in the story of why we feel a certain way
Hmm.
or trying to analyze it to death, we simply observe it with a sense of detachment.
Okay.
This allows the energy to dissipate naturally without us getting swept away by it.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this all connects back to the idea of the untethered soul. It's about freeing ourselves from the limitations of our mind, from the constant chatter and the emotional baggage we carry. But what about those deeper issues, the ones that feel really stuck? How do we let go of those?
That's where Singer's insights go beyond typical self-help advice. He encourages us to shift our focus from fixing ourselves to simply accepting ourselves as we are,
Mm.
flaws and all.
Okay,
It's a radical shift in perspective that can be truly liberating.
that's a challenging idea, but also incredibly freeing. If we're not constantly trying to change ourselves, then what are we striving for?
That's the question Singer invites us to explore. Who are we beyond the labels, the stories, the limitations we've placed on ourselves?
And that's where the untethered soul comes in.
Yeah, it's about recognizing that we're not just our thoughts or emotions, but something much greater, something boundless and free.
Wow, that sounds amazing, but also a little abstract. How do we connect with this untethered soul? Where do we even begin?
That's what we'll uncover as we continue our deep dive into the untethered soul. Stay tuned as we explore the heart of Singer's message and how we can access this profound sense of freedom and inner peace.
Okay, so we're back and ready to explore this idea of the untethered soul itself. From what we've talked about so far, it sounds like it's about way more than just quieting that inner critic.
Yeah, it goes much deeper. Singer is challenging us to question our entire understanding of who we are. Remember that question, who are you?
Yeah.
He argues that our true identity lies far beyond the limits of our physical body, our thoughts, and even our emotions.
Okay, that's a big idea.
Yeah.
So if we're not our thoughts or emotions, then who are we? What's left?
Well, Singer points to the concept of pure consciousness as the essence of our being.
Pure consciousness.
Yeah, or awareness.
Yeah.
It's that part of us that can observe our thoughts and emotions without judgment. The silent witness that's always present.
Okay, I think I'm starting to get it. So, like, as I'm experiencing this moment right now, my thoughts, feelings, sounds around me, there's also this deeper awareness that's just observing it all.
Exactly. And that awareness, according to Singer, is the untethered soul. It's a part of us that's unbound by the limitations of our ego, our past, our fears. It's the source of true freedom.
So, we've been so focused on the characters in the movie of our lives that we forget we're actually the audience,
So that is a great way to put it.
sitting in the vastness of the theater.
And when we tap into that awareness, we connect with this sense of peace, joy, and love that's always available to us, no matter what's happening around us.
If this awareness is always there, why don't we experience it all the time? Like, why do we get so caught up in the drama of our lives?
Because we've been conditioned to identify with our thoughts and emotions. We believe they define us, that they are who we are. It's like watching a movie and getting so engrossed in the story that you forget you're just watching a screen. We do the same thing with our thoughts and emotions. We forget that they're just experiences arising and passing within the vast space of our awareness.
So I need to like detach from that identification, recognize that we're not the movie, but the observer. But how do we actually do that?
That's where practices like meditation come in. They can
Mhm.
help us cultivate that awareness, create space between our thoughts and our true selves. Singer also talks a lot about connecting with the spiritual heart.
Yes, the spiritual heart. That was fascinating. What exactly is that, and how does it relate to the untethered soul?
He describes the spiritual heart as the seat of our true being, the source of unconditional love and compassion. Not a physical heart, but an energetic center within us.
Oh, interesting.
And he suggests that by connecting with his heart, we're tapping into our untethered soul.
So it's about cultivating a deeper sense of love and compassion, not just for others, but for ourselves too.
Exactly. As we cultivate this connection, we start to experience a profound shift in how we see things. We see the world through the eyes of love and compassion, and our relationships with ourselves and others begin to transform.
So it seems like the untethered soul goes beyond personal growth, and touches on something much bigger, a sense of interconnectedness with everything around us.
Absolutely. Singer reminds us that we're not isolated individuals. We're threads in the vast tapestry of existence. And as we awaken to our untethered soul, we begin to experience a sense of oneness, of unity with all that is.
Wow, that's powerful. So the untethered soul is ultimately about freeing ourselves from the limits of our minds and recognizing our true nature as pure awareness, as love.
That's a beautiful way to sum it up. It's about living with an open heart, embracing the present moment, and experiencing the world with a sense of wonder and joy.
It's like an invitation to live a more meaningful and purposeful life. Well, we've come to the end of our deep dive into the untethered soul. This has been an incredibly thought-provoking exploration, I have to say.
It really has. And remember, the journey of self-discovery is ongoing. As Singer says, this above all, to thine own self be true. Take what resonates with you from this book, explore the practices, and embark on your own path of awakening.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the untethered soul. We hope you found it insightful and inspiring. We'll catch you next time on the deep dive, where we'll explore another fascinating topic.
Until then, stay curious, stay open, and keep diving deep.